Have you ever had one of those weeks? Oh my goodness, it's continuing. Have you ever had one of those weeks that just, you couldn't get your feet under you? It just seemed like one thing after another you thought was going right, and it just snowballed. Speaking of snowballs, I remember seeing somebody, and I don't remember what state they lived in, got 11 inches of snow. Ooh, I am so sorry. Here in the Southern California beaches, we have a breeze, blue skies, and about 74 degrees. Not bad. Not bad for a Saturday. You can hear the motorcycles and the race cars and everybody and their mother out because it's a lovely weekend. Isn't that nice? Happy spring. So, this is episode 54 of Telling Tales, Tracing Roots, Telling Tales. Genealogy with Donna. It's supposed to be on Tuesdays, and here we are on Saturday. But I was not going to let this go because once you drop something and let it go, then it snowballs the next week, and there we have snow again. We don't want to have snow. Ordinary ancestors are extraordinary. Think about that. Ordinary ancestors are extraordinary. I was speaking to one lady today about genealogy, and she said in her family tree, she has a lady that was in the Pennsylvania mountains, and she was the mother of 24 people. 24. I can't imagine what that woman's life was like. I would love to have a peek into that life. I have asked the woman what was the age range, from birth to how far for 24. I can only imagine. I would love to find out more about this particular family tree because it just sounds so interesting. I had heard mention somewhere, and I don't know where I got the information, my father's mother had 12 children. Well, that was completely erroneous. She had 5 children. One, two, three, 4. 5 children. 1 died. So, I don't know where the 12 came from. I have no idea. There were supposed to be 2 sets of twins. There was a set of twins. The one that died was one of the twins. So, find it interesting that the things that we think we know or think we heard, and then we go to piece it together, doesn't quite pan out the way we thought. So not every ancestor was famous, and that's the point. Most of our ancestors didn't make the history books. They lived quiet, everyday lives, but real talk, they built the foundations that the history of our family stands on. Work, routine, and survival are legacy. Heck, we're doing it right now. Work, routine, and survival. Farming, cooking, raising children, showing up day after day. Their lives aren't glamorous, but they certainly are consistent. And consistency is what kept families going. Finding meaning in ordinary records. Census records, city directories, tax rolls, they may seem basic, and they are, but they tell you so much. Right now I'm working on a brick wall. The brick wall happens to be Mike's grandfather. And I find him at the age of 13 listed as a nephew with 8 other boys who are nephews. And I believe it's in a boarding house. I don't know what they're doing. It says school. He's 13. It says school. But I don't know. This isn't anybody in our family tree, so he is not the nephew of whoever this gentleman is. And I don't know how to go, other than going to Missouri and getting in those records. I haven't been able to get a digitized birth record for him. I haven't been able to find out anything more. So that leads me to believe we're going to have to travel back there for me to get that and find out more. Because from the age of 0 birth to 13, he had to have lived somewhere. And this is a census where if I'd gone back 10 years, remember the 1890 census was destroyed by fire. because we didn't have computers then, so it didn't get digitized. Hell, there are so many records that have not been digitized because there's just so many of them that keeping present day digitized is enough work as it is. Anyway, so that's my brick wall, and I continue to work on it. I continue to get the brick wall. I haven't smashed through it yet, but the minute I do, I will let you know. So you find meaning in ordinary records, where they lived, what they did, what their occupation was, and how they survived. Ordinary records reveal extraordinary resilience. Seeing dignity in daily life. Our ancestors didn't need big moments to matter. They matter to us because that's where we came from. There is dignity in hard work, in sacrifice, in stability, and showing up for family. Real talk, the survival is a legacy. You know, you had Mike had a grandmother that lived to be 4 months short of her 100th birthday. That's a big deal. Considering she was born in the 1800s, I'd say that was a really big deal. My great-grandmother lived to be 96. Now, word had it she was 100, but all the documentation says no, she was not 100. She was 96, and she did not like being told she was in her 90s. I mean, facts are facts, but she still didn't like being reminded that she was old. Maybe that's why I feel a little rebellious. Yes, I'm 75. I'll be 76 this year, but I certainly don't act. I know we don't act like you would think a 75-year-old would act. I don't know. Our stereotypes are back from when our parents were born, and that was normally the 19 teens, 1900 teens, or the 1920s. And the parents of the 50s and 60s were so not fun-loving. You know what I mean? They were not fun-loving, that's for sure. So I don't want, and they were old when they were 40. I mean, think about it. They were old when, they acted old when they were 40. They act old when they were 40 because their parents had acted old? I don't know. But I was 40 and I was barely in the prime of my life. So I take 70 as mentally I'm still in my 40s. Physically it's a little harder. Knees hurting, backs don't feel great, slept wrong last night, you know, those kind of things. People don't always connect to royalty or fame. They connect to real life. Because most of us come from people who, again, worked hard, loved deeply, and did the best they could with what they had. They did their best. They did their best because of the examples that were set for them. They did their best because of the pressure from society. They did their best because they thought that's what they should do. They had integrity. They had ethics. And that story is probably the most powerful story you have. So you don't have to come from greatness to be part of something meaningful. Everyday lives built everything that we stand on. And think about that. You know, you just go on living your life, doing something regular, and that's what you've got to leave as a legacy. You know, maybe fun moments, maybe simple memories are exactly what the family will remember when you're long gone, and it's the grandchildren or the great-grandchildren that are hearing the stories about what you were like as a person. Anyway, leave them with good impressions, will ya? Take care. I will see you next Tuesday. And until then, have a wonderful Easter and a great weekend. Bye.